put your hands together in welcoming Mr. Neeraj Sharma, MD and Head of Media and Entertainment Industry, APAC, Accenture. Over to you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Neeraj Sharma. I lead Accenture's Media and Entertainment Industry practice for Asia Pacific. One of the privileges of my jobs is to have conversations at CEO, owner, promoter level across industries. And in every single conversation, these three words that you see in purple almost always pop up at decreasing order of priority. 100% of the conversations talk about AI, about 70% of the conversations include attention, only 10 to 15% of the conversations include emotion. Today we'll talk about all three with equal weight. Okay. All right. By the way, we are finishing October. Pretty much exactly 3 years ago, November 2022, ChatGPT for the first time was made available to the public. So it's already been 3 years since ChatGPT came into our life. And at the same time, it's only been 3 years since ChatGPT came into our life, and so much has changed. So quick show of hands, and by the way, I'll keep doing this throughout the session, so the energy that you exhibit will come here, otherwise I will also go dull and drab, okay? So I'll keep asking you to raise hands at various points in time. Quick show of hands, how many of you are either excited, scared, or curious about AI? Okay, almost everyone. Quick show of hands, how many of you have actually benefited from using AI? About 50%. How many of you are already disappointed by AI? No one? Okay, good. I will disappoint you right now. Okay. Because, and it's actually not it is AI which will disappoint you, simply because of the hype cycle. This is a Gartner framework. Gartner uses this hype cycle. Wherever a new buzzword comes into the conversation, they track its journey, and usually the journey of that buzzword is, initially there's a lot of hype, so people get very excited about it, expectations get built up, expectations reach a certain level, people start using the damn thing, and they realize that it's not delivering what they thought it will deliver, and then suddenly expectations drop substantially, but by that time the technology matures and then it reaches a level of performance. That's a typical cycle which almost all buzzwords, all technologies follow. AI also has that hype cycle. All the dots that you see here, you don't have to worry about reading the names, but all the various technologies, Gartner is tracking them. I want to call out specifically two. Number one is generative AI, which is in June, it was at that point where it was beginning to disappoint and it was going to go down. Right now, at the peak of that expectation curve is agentic AI. Everyone would be talking about agentic AI. Everyone thinks agentic AI is going to be is magic. It will solve all your life's problems. It will not. It will disappoint you before it starts performing. I'll show you an example. Generative AI in particular, okay? This was done when Veo 3 was launched a few months ago. Some guy named Suman Sarkar created some ads for Apple iPhone 17. Okay, the guy used only one tool and he used only one single prompt, variations of that prompt of course, to generate 4 or 5 ads of 8 seconds each, because Veo generates only 8-second ads, right? So, or 8-second videos. At that point was generating only 8-second videos.
Dust is everywhere, but it goes nowhere. iPhone 17 Pro Max, untouched.
Everyone's watching, but not your world. iPhone 17 Pro Max. Privacy. Built in.
A camera built for filmmakers. Cinematic mastery in your pocket. iPhone 17 Pro Max.
So I'll stop there for a moment. When I first saw those ads, my reaction was, okay, nice. I mean, cool that something like that can be generated with one single prompt by one single person, but does it move me in any way? It doesn't. It's not memorable. I will not even remember those ads, even though they were on point, on brand, and so on and so forth. Now, there's this guy named Simon Meyer, who's a generative AI creative professional. unlike Suman Sarkar, his purpose or his objective of creating what he just created, and I'll show you, was not to just prove that the technology works. His objective was to become known as someone who can create professional material using generative AI. Okay, so he did not use one tool. He used multiple tools, and he used his years of experience and training as a creative professional. Okay, let's see what he created. What he has created is not an iPhone ad, it is an iPhone ad spoof.
Introducing the all-new iPhone 17 Pro, the first iPhone without a camera. Because why capture moments when you can just invent them? That trip to Africa you never took? Your wedding? The birth of your son? Already in your camera roll. We're also redefining personalized ads. Introducing FriendCast ads. Every ad now features your actual friends and family. Because who wouldn't buy protein powder if their mom told them?
Hi, honey. I love this new Muscle Fit protein powder. You should definitely try it. Seriously, buy it. Buy it now. I'm your mother.
But there's one more thing. Introducing I Want. Your phone now buys stuff before you know you want it. So, what are you waiting for? Stop living. Start generating. iPhone 17 Pro.
This actually blew my mind away because it's far more memorable. It connects much better because he's circumventing the limitations of the generative AI technology by using multiple tools and by aligning to a story. And not just, so, it's not just the fact that he's cracking a joke at popular culture by saying stop living, start generating. He's also pulled in the nuances of the messaging of Steve Jobs, so that one more thing is there as part of his story, and which is what makes this memorable. And this is not possible through one tool. Therefore, he had to use about 6-7 different tools, one for audio, one for video, one for scripting, and then eventually composed everything in probably in Premiere Pro or Resolve. So that is why I keep telling everyone keeps coming to me saying AI is magic. And I keep telling everyone AI is magical. AI is not magic. Your craft is the magic. AI is just the tool which will enable it. Okay. So I promised 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 for AI, attention, and emotion. We'll stop on AI for now. Let's go to attention. Okay. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about AI. I mentioned that there's a bunch of tools, which this guy used. The problem with these tools is that every single day new tools are getting released, right? One of the problems with AI today is that you don't know how to keep pace. You just heard about one tool, and literally very next day another tool which came, and everyone said, oh, this one is so much better, forget the other one. Within that tool, the technology is changing. Within the tool, how to prompt is changing, and it is so difficult to keep pace with it simply because there is so much coming your way. And therefore, and that's happening, by the way, in the Marcom world as well. In the entire Marcom cycle, you will see dozens of use cases which have actually grown to maturity. And again, you don't have to worry about reading. I'll share the slides. For each one of those dozens of use cases, there are hundreds of tools which are currently commercially available. So what do you do in that world? What you do in that world is, don't worry about those hundreds of use cases and hundreds of tools. You identify what you work most on. For example, in my consulting profession, across the entire consulting value chain, there are only 12 broad sets of activities which make any difference. So because I've done that work for so many years, I know that this is the broad 10 activities, tasks that I need to perform on a regular basis. I have built my own AI stack using third-party tools to use there. So now I don't have to worry about the hundreds of tools which are coming in the market. Those 10, 11 tools that I'm comfortable with in the standard workflow that I have built works for me. Whichever profession you are in, marketing, finance, HR, supply chain, just focus on what activities are more important for you and what tools, 1, 2, 3 tools for each one of those activities are relevant for you. Build your own AI stack, you'll be fine. Cool? Which brings me to part 2 about attention. Okay. I mentioned everyone keeps talking to me about attention economy, and everyone thinks, oh, people are spending so much time on various platforms, and therefore there's a great opportunity to leverage attention, monetize attention better. The big problem with leveraging attention is it's a very tough job because number one, you don't know what attention is worth leveraging. Okay, this screenshot that you see here is my own experience during this Diwali. On one of those food delivery apps, I had placed an order. I never asked them to deliver food to me in 25 minutes. They promised, they said, oh, we will deliver food to you in 25 minutes. 45 minutes later, the food isn't here and I'm hungry. And while I'm checking my app every 30 seconds to see where the food is, they are showing me the sets of ads which says, while you wait. I didn't want to wait. I'm hungry, I'm frustrated, on the border of getting angry, and now you want me to look at this insurance ad. I wish I had taken insurance for the food delivery to come on time. So therefore, not all attention is equal, and the tough part of leveraging attention is to identify which attention to get associated with. Very difficult to do for an advertiser, even with all the data available with us. Okay. Number two problem is that even if you could identify, the problem is that there is abundance of everything. Everything is in oversupply. You try to find niche content to get associated with, there is oversupply of niche content as well. And therefore, for the consumer, it is very difficult to feel something when they get exposed to something. You will feel something when you experience very high quality content made, but the problem is high quality content takes time to produce. By that time, there's a bunch of people who would have created substandard quality content for that topic, and that topic is dead by the time the really good quality content is coming out. Right? So this oversupply of everything is numbing people down. People don't feel anything when they experience, which is, if I ask any one of you, which is the last jingle you remember, which is the last ad you remember, each one of you is probably going to go back to your childhood days. Nothing from recent past would come as a memorable jingle to you. It's not a lack of creativity. It's not a lack of creativity. It's an oversupply of content which is making this difficult. Okay. The third problem is because of oversupply. And okay, people thought, in digital we can go niche, we can target specific consumers, we don't have to worry about reach, we can be very targeted. But digital fatigue is also setting in now. This is ComScore data. For the first time this year, overall digital audiences have not grown, so digital audiences are stagnating. Interestingly and more alarmingly, digital consumption per capita is dropping. In fact, we ran our own primary research as well as Accenture, and we learned that on social video in particular, content consumption per capita this year is down 28% compared to last year. And that's a sign of digital fatigue setting in. People realize that short form video that is being served to them is essentially, dopamine hit. It's essentially a form of a drug. And people don't want to be druggies anymore, right? So they are moving away from that. In that world, in that attention deficit world, how do you then stand out? In a world which has oversupply, in a world where people are not paying attention, how do you stand out? You stand out through emotion. There are a few brands, new age brands, who have figured their way around it by leveraging emotion. So, how many of you in this room are familiar with Bombay Shaving Company? Wow, super. Almost 100%. Bombay Shaving Company has figured out, their quote-unquote marketing budget is less than 0.2% of their revenue. For a D2C brand to have such a low marketing budget is really phenomenal, because a lot of what they do in the guise of marketing is actually content creation. So their content budget is higher, and they get all their marketing done through content. But just content is not enough. Because see, 5 years ago, if you just started a podcast, you would probably get attention. Today, every man and his dog has a podcast. So how do you stand out in that world? Shantanu Deshpande stands out by constantly revising the type of content he's putting out. So it's not just a standard podcast. The Bridge, this is a screenshot from The Bridge, where he's bringing, in every episode, he brings two Gen Zs to sit with two CEOs and discuss the same topic. Cool, because there is already emotion attached. There is already two worlds which are conflicting with each other. So that's not just a good old podcast. Now, of course, Shantanu Deshpande and Bombay Shaving Company, they have taken a slightly quirky approach to their content. You don't have to necessarily be quirky. There is someone else who has done, who I respect a lot in terms of content-led marketing, Attenberg. Fans, the dullest of categories possible, right? You buy a fan once in 10 years and then you forget about that damn thing unless it breaks. How do you, and they've built 1,000 crore rupee business in just the last 8 to 10 years in that category. How do you do that? By standing out with content. And content which is authentic, resonates with the philosophy of the founders and the creators themselves. Very, very technical stuff he puts out. But all of that stuff is resonating with the audience because it's authentic. Now, these are both examples still of digital. One other example is Rain Matter, which is Zerodha's investment arm. They have a phenomenal approach for generating emotion. They organize, so their target audience is startup founders and investors. So that community is their target audience. They organize these startup founders meets, and founders runs actually is more importantly. They have said, look, we worry about your health. We of course worry about your companies, but you won't be able to run your companies if you are not physically fit. We worry about your health, so please work out and let's work out together. Every month they organize these founders runs. All the founders come together, they run together. After that they have breakfast. Imagine the kind of emotion that generates, which is far more valuable than what any individual ad can create, right? Now, the problem with all of these examples that I gave is that they run the risk of being seen as gimmicks. So they will give you a very nice spike in the short term. So you organize a run for 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, very nice spike. After that, immediately that will drop down. Same hype curve of Gartner will follow for these activities also. Conversation will go up, conversation will come down, but where it drops and stabilizes later is still a little bit higher than where you started. And that is what I call the hype gain right at the bottom. So you're not ending at where you started. If you do just one such instance also, you are slightly elevated compared to that, compared to where you started. This is what these businesses that I just mentioned have figured out very well, that they are creating their business, they are treating their business as a creative medium. See, business was supposed to be this dull machinery, right? And the ad was supposed to be creative. These folks have figured out that their business itself is the creative. Therefore, while in traditional world everyone would stand out through professionalism, these guys in their conversation are adding personality to their professionalism. So the personality of the brand of the company itself comes out in their messaging. While the tone earlier used to be managerial, the tone now is editorial in nature. While they would earlier win through analysis, planning, and conversations around that, now they win with investors and with their boards through conversations around insights and vision. While creative used to be earlier brought at the end, creative is now integrated from the very start in their thinking. These folks are putting the enterprise at the intersection of culture and commerce. And that's not something that can be done just through the messaging or communication. It has to show up in your product. It has to show up in every aspect of your business. So product, marketing, distribution, physical presence, digital presence, the way you hire talent and the way you train your talent, it has to show up everywhere. Whatever philosophy you are taking in your personality in the brand will show up in all of these areas. I did talk about, all of this can potentially appear like a gimmick. But if you keep doing this at a repeat basis, if you keep doing this at the right frequency, right consistency, it does take you from point A to B. So it's not a straight line path anymore, but it's a path which is available to stand out. With that, I would end my keynote. I know we don't have time for questions today. My email ID is right here. It is neeraj.s.sharma@accenture.com. I'll be very happy to answer any questions, thoughts, questions, compliments, complaints about this conversation. Oh, we have time? Oh. Okay, we seem to have. That said, we'll take some questions. Email ID still remains there. Happy to engage with you on email, or you can look me up on LinkedIn. Okay, if no question comes, it means I have failed. One of my philosophies is if your content is not generating interaction, then it is bad content. Damn, I just got a 3 out of 10 on my presentation. Fine.
Neeraj, here.
Yes, sir.
So, you mean to say that the AI buzz that's been the market that right now we are witnessing is not real?
Oh, no, it is very much real. I'm a big AI convert. It's just that what we expect right now from AI will not happen the way we expect it. It'll take much longer for AI to deliver the results the way we want it to deliver. So the AI is real, the hype is following its hype cycle. So it'll go up, it'll come down, and then it'll stabilize and grow again.
But the kind of exploitation of AI in media entertainment practice, how it will, because where it is standing right now and how it is expected to transform in future, maybe down the line in 5 years.
Super.
Or if 5 years is too long, at least 2-3 years.
Yeah, actually in the AI world, 5 years is really wrong. Content creation will become simpler, especially VFX, audio. Audio is a really mature use case right now. VFX is a reasonably mature use case. Image generation is a very mature use case. So all of these use cases will find adoption right now as well. The problem will be the difference between Suman Sarkar's ad versus Simon Mayer's ad. If someone thinks that I will just write one line into a tool and I will get the output I want, these are the people who will be most disappointed. But those who have worked on their craft in the traditional way, if they can apply the learnings from that traditional craft in the new tool, they will generate good results like Simon Mayer did.
And will it simplify the way the animation industry is functioning? Is it instead of the existing time-consuming process, what kind of impact it will have on AVGC industry?
A phenomenal impact. There's this film on YouTube called Where the Robots Grow. It's made by a company called AI-mation. They made this in March last year. Okay, in March last year, and it's a full-length feature film, touted to be the first AI feature film, animation film, and it's not a bad film, by the way, even by March last year standards. It was made by just 8 people put together, and it was made in the UK, so they still had a fair amount of money to spend, but by UK standards, they spent just about $1 million, or less than $1 million, 8 people working on it. In 3 months, they made it. I met the owner and this founder of the company, and he said, Neeraj, today, if I have to make the same film, one person will make the same film in 1 month. And a similar film before AI would have taken Disney about 8 years to make and maybe $200 million to make.
Do you see, hello, you hear me? Yeah. So, do you see a day when the advertising ad sales or the revenue generation stream of media platform going completely under online purchase, guided by AI kind of tools, depending upon like the airline kind of selling, where the pricing goes up and down, where the human interface is getting minimal, but the machine does a lot of work.
Scary, possible. I haven't even thought about it because I'm scared of thinking about it. But what you said, purely from a technology perspective, is very, very likely.
Finally, you spoke about the tool that you need to be very selective about within the AI perspective. But today, we end up seeing so many ads where AI gurus come and preach you that you pay 100 rupee, I will teach you best use of AI. Out of that, whom to choose?
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, ask AI. No, try one of those is my advice to everyone. And also, there's still a bunch of content available on YouTube. Also, free content. You can try that. Most important thing is use the tools yourself. Don't wait for someone to come and teach you. Just pick up a tool that you like. Start experimenting with. Play with it. Play with it 2 hours every day. And over a period of time, you will figure out how the tool is responding to you. This tool is slightly different than technologies of yesterday. The tool also adapts to you. So, one you need to know how to use the tool, but the tool also learns how you are interacting with it, and it starts getting slightly better results if you start spending more time with it. And I'm not talking about just ChatGPT. I'm talking about any AI tool, not just this.
Hi, Neeraj. I have a question. Can I ask?
There is someone who's...
I'm here.
Someone at the back. Okay, cool.
Neeraj, can you just go back to the slide where you spoke about professionalism to personality? Yeah. What is that? How will I understand that point?
There was a point in time when people were afraid to... So everyone was straight-jacketed in terms of what is the definition of professionalism, right? People were afraid to crack jokes as part of their advertising communication or their messaging, because jokes are difficult, right? You never know how it will land on someone. Zepto has taken a different path on that. Zomato overall, and Zepto from inspired from it. So Zomato constantly comes out with these culturally relevant memes, if for want of a better word, to send their message out. That is Zomato's personality, playful. And in everything that they are communicating, they are exhibiting that personality. And I would argue that by exhibiting that personality consistently, they are exhibiting a certain amount of professionalism as well. So it's not that become unprofessional and adopt a personality. It is build a personality on top of the professionalism.
More so in the communication and marketing angle?
The way Zomato communicates is exactly how they exhibit their personality, right? So the fact that they've said, look, we are for the younger, more youthful audiences, and youthful audiences resonate better with memes, therefore we will ride culture, moment marketing at all point. We'll be the first to market moments. And they have changed their, the way their Marcom works. You require very few approvals to get memes out, because you have to get memes out on a daily basis. You can't have the long cycle of 3 weeks of approval cycles and then something goes out. And if that means something lands wrongly for a bit, that's okay. You'll move on to the next one.
So you're saying they're moving out from conservatism?
Yes, and that's a choice they have made. Now, take the example of Attenberg, which is very different. They have also picked up a personality which is very professional, very technical, very hardcore and serious. Therefore, all of their messaging, except their TVCs, are exhibiting that. So when Arindam Paul writes, in my opinion, he writes with such great depth that you feel that if this man who's the chief marketing officer is so good at his craft and technically so good at his craft, the product that they are offering must also be technically very good. I've not even used their product, by the way. I don't even know which fan is at my home. But if you were to ask me for one fan brand, immediately top of mind, Attenberg will come. That's only because Attenberg's personality is of that serious technical nature.
The other one is, how will I understand managerial to editorial?
Right. Managers report numbers, right? Our performance grew 3% in the last quarter on quarter, driven by more sales in West. This SKU went up. Boring stuff. Editors tell a story. Editors give a narrative. Editors are looking for insights out of the numbers, not just numbers. So the messaging communication is more editorial in nature, less managerial in nature, more story and narrative driven, less, here is my product, these are the 5 best features about the product.
Thank you.
Chris, you had something.
Interesting takeaway is your hype game.
Yeah.
Now, is this applicable only for D2C brands, or is it applicable to? Today we are speaking about that's picked up big time in China. That's really not caught up still in India. So given that kind of a scenario, how do you actually say this? How this hype gain? How does it differentiate between a brick and mortar store versus a D2C brand versus the upcoming streaming commerce and stuff which when it enters into India?
I would argue that hype gain works for everything. Hype gain works for everything, even if you're a B2B company. My favorite example of hype gain is a B2B company, which is a venture capital firm called Bloom Ventures. Bloom Ventures is not the largest venture capital firm, but if you ask anyone in the venture investing world, they will probably be one of the top 3 names that come to people's mind. Why? Because Bloom Ventures publishes a report called the Indus Valley Report. How many of you have read the Indus Valley Report? If you haven't, then only one hand. Damn, I need to promote this more. And Sajid Pai needs to pay me more for that. Please read the Indus Valley Report. It is a very interesting narrative about how to look at India as a country and how to look at consumer in India as segments of India 1, 2, and 3. They come out with only one report every year. And that report is so beautifully crafted and written and promoted thereafter that everyone starts referencing that report. And therefore, as B2B marketing, it becomes really good. But the problem is that first report, phenomenal success. Second report, carryover of the previous halo effect, still done well. Third report, everyone's like, I don't know whether I should read it or not. So what they have done is they have started doing industry deep dives. Now they don't do that standard report. I mean, they might do every year one report, but now every month there comes out an industry deep dive. And that then becomes, an execution narrative. So B2B also, what you said, it's not limited to just D2C digital brands. B2B physical brick and mortar can exactly leverage this, as Rain Matter has shown, by creating a physical event.
Good evening, Neeraj. This is Ramesh here. I have a quick question. See, earlier, 2 decades back, we used to have business intelligence, where organizations used to deep dive into their data, find out what's happening inside their organizations, and then report back to their board or the CEO or whatever happens. So right now you have artificial intelligence. Now there's a long way BI has traveled up to AI. How affordable is AI for small businesses who can't take in the kind of investment which BI is supposed to cost? Are there some good tools? See, I have seen Tableau is one of the tools which you are using in your daily life.
Yeah.
So, a quick...
I must first of all thank you for actually reading that crowded slide. The slide that he's referring to is the previous one. I wasn't sure anyone is going to look at it, but you did. Yeah, that's the... BI and AI are 2 separate use cases. BI tools do a different job, AI tools do a different job. AI tools ideally would sit on top of BI tools. I will just say that AI, and with the advent of AI tools, the general affordability of all analytics capabilities has improved only. It has not reduced. It has become better because now you don't need 3 data scientists and 2 query engineers to craft something for you. You can just take a tool, push some files out and run an output. This is where the hype cycle will come into picture, because right now I'm not very confident that the data or the results that come out of it are very, very reliable. So you have to be very careful on what you use, which is where you'll still have to employ those engineers and data scientists to validate. But maybe in 2 or 3 years that will stabilize and we'll have pretty good results coming out of it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hi Neeraj, do we have time for one question?
I'm here all day.
Okay. So I just have, thanks for the session, Neeraj. Lovely. My question is, how is Accenture as a firm, a large B2B firm, adapting to the Gartner hype cycle? What are you doing, and how are you quickly moving to it?
Oh yeah, every single employee of Accenture is, by the way, this I'm saying as an employee, I'm not right now here as an official spokesperson of Accenture, but every single Accenture employee is expected to get trained on AI. Zero exception. It doesn't matter what role you are in, what function you are in, you have to be fluent with AI, because we believe that the way today you can't do without laptops. If you want to be in the office environment, tomorrow you'll not be able to do without AI if you have to be in office environment. There are some amazing use cases in HR, finance, Marcom. Accenture Marcom uses a lot of AI agents to generate, adapt various content into small form, long form, into translate into languages and so on and so forth. Accenture Investor Relations, by the way, uses some AI tools to prepare our investor conversations as well. So yeah, we are using it a lot, and every single employee is expected to get trained.
Thank you.
I think I should go. This is good. Thanks everyone for your time.
Thank you for the fabulous session. Please stay back with us for a moment, please. So once again, a huge round of applause, please. Thank you, and we have a memento coming up for you. For the felicitation, we'd like to welcome Mr. Vijay Vishwanath, founder and CEO of Media News for You, to kindly join us on stage. So yes, give it up, everybody.